Ghosts are real. That much I know. I've seen them all my life.
Would you be mine? Edith, this is my sister.
I don't think she's the right choice.
You have to trust me.
Thomas, your bride is frozen.
I'll run you a hot bath.
There are parts of the house that are unsafe.
What was that?
A house as old as this one becomes, in time, a living thing.
Never go below this level.
It starts holding on to things.
Has anyone died in this house? Specific deaths? Violent deaths?
In your own best interest, proceed with caution.
Keeping them alive when they shouldn't be.
If you're here with me, give me a signal.
She knows everything.
Do we have to do this? Must we?
Yes. You have no idea what they do.
What do you want? I have to leave.
You have nowhere else to go. This is your home now.
So, Crimson Peak.
What'd you think?
What? I'm asking you that.
You always ask me first.
All right. Well, I want to say it's Guillermo del Toro, so how could it not be good?
Right. You want to say that, but you can't?
Well, I would just be cliche to say that, I guess. But, yeah, it's good, solid. Guillermo del Toro. What I love about his work almost as much as anything else is the fact that the location with him almost always is a character too.
Yes.
It's very much about atmosphere.
Yes.
And Crimson Peak is absolutely the same, or what you would expect there.
Yeah, how about that house?
Wow.
It was a living being itself.
It was. And just amazing to see. Now, story-wise, I'm going to say slow, but I mean, it's a ghost story. You know, well, how much did you know about this going into it?
I really didn't know anything.
I didn't know much
All I knew
either.
was a girl marries a guy and goes and lives in his creepy house.
Yeah.
That's all I knew.
Well, I knew from the previews that it was going to be a ghost story.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew that.
Okay, so I mean, beyond that, though, we didn't really know what else.
No.
I watched the preview maybe a long time ago and didn't really put any more effort into tracking down the story and finding out what's going on, because really it is rather straightforward.
Right.
But
there was a little more going on.
Yeah.
Right away, you can tell something's not quite right with her new husband. I mean, that's not a spoiler or anything. I mean, as soon as you meet him, you know that you don't know what his intentions are, his true intentions. And
right.
I was like, oh man, it's going to be one of those where the guy is a jerk, and he's doing something. So I had no idea. So that was a surprise.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a straight, you weren't sure, because there was the whole relationship thing too. The story was more grounded in the living world.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a big horror story, supernatural thing. The ghosts only appeared to give warnings.
Right.
And the story really was in the living world.
Yeah.
So that was a surprise too.
Yes.
I was ready for just a full-on haunting story, and that's not what this was.
No, it definitely wasn't.
But I liked that.
Yeah, and I like that, and I like the way the ghosts appeared.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They were pretty neat.
They were, but I mean, they were like Victorian-style ghosts. Well, obviously it was a Victorian piece.
Some of them were just sort of bones, though. You couldn't really tell.
But I mean, the movement and stuff. I'm thinking of Phantasmagoria. I'm thinking about glass plates and the way some of these camera tricks and so on were initially done.
Yeah.
You got that kind of movement from the ghost.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I think so.
I mean, it stood out to me that way as I watched them, that they just moved in that manner. I don't know. I mean, I guess somebody else would have to look at it and see what I mean. You either get it or you don't. You just look at it and...
Okay.
Never mind.
I don't totally get it. I'm sorry.
Despite how bony they were, like you said, they were like just bones pretty much. They were very translucent.
Right.
There was ectoplasm coming off of them.
We kind of realized that they were all different, because at first I thought, okay, well, she's being haunted by this ghost. But then it's like, wait a minute, now it looks really different. Oh, wait a minute, that one's even more different.
Something else.
They were in different states of decay, and that's a little disheartening. Man, I'm going to come back as a ghost, but, like, I'm going to still rot and, like, you know.
Continue to fall apart?
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, so...
But that was kind of neat.
I guess what I was talking about was, like, literally the mechanics of it. The fact that... it was like a ghost on a string. There were no strings that you saw.
Right.
But the way... I'm thinking about the ghost movement down the hallway.
Okay.
And it slid along a trolley, but you could clearly see there was no trolley. There was nothing there guiding it.
Okay.
So it would have been like a very Victorian-era style ghost on a string type of thing.
Okay.
But... It
wasn't such a modern effect that it was, like, didn't match with the movie. I mean, it was consistent with because this was Victorian, the style, the clothes, the people. If you're saying the ghosts had a Victorian style element or something to them, then...
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying so hard here.
You'll just have to watch it and watch the movements and so on.
I did watch it, and I still don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
I'm saying that, whatever. Okay.
Anyway, so what did you think of the acting?
Acting was awesome. Top-notch acting.
Everybody was great.
Everybody was good in there.
Of course, Tom Hiddleston is in there, so all the Loki fans can run out and possibly be disappointed once you get to know him a little bit, but...
Possibly, yeah.
But he's always great.
Yeah,
and
a good, solid actor for sure.
The actress who I will have her name when we're actually at home and not out in the car.
Yeah.
Who played, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
She was great as the lead.
So...
I thought everybody was outstanding.
Solid, top-notch. And to me, this was a perfect... Well, I don't want to say a perfect movie. It would be overstating it. It was a perfect way to watch it. It was perfect for a Sunday morning. We've got the theater to ourselves. There's nobody else there, and it's just us watching it.
Okay. So it maybe wouldn't be as enjoyable in another?
No, it would be. I mean, but this is the perfect way to watch. Just sit back on our couches, kick off your shoes, lay back on the beds that we were...
Oh my gosh.
That we were in.
Yeah, I'm not liking this new theater setup.
Well, that's why it's been so long since we've been back here.
It's like I find in the middle of the movie, I wanted my slippers. My feet were cold. I'm looking for my blankie.
But anyhow, my point was it was cozy. It was a perfect movie to watch like that. And, any other time it would have been good too. But it was just, that was...
Well, and you said it was slow, but you don't mean that in a negative way.
No, it's
not a nonstop action-packed... I mean, it's a slow burn ghost story. But
yes.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. And that's not to say the pacing was bad. It was just...
No, not at all.
If somebody's going here looking for horror. However... if you want a bloody knife fight and
well, that's the thing. It's rated R.
It is rated R.
There was one F word.
Yeah.
And because there were 0 until like the end, and then I was like, oh.
There it is.
And then there was just some like violence, bloody violence.
Yeah, some blood and some gore. A little bit early on and a little bit later in the picture.
Yeah. Well, you have to define gore, but yeah.
Well, okay, like a head cave. Okay.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Well, I was just going to say a head caved in. I mean,
well, yeah, when you
severed things and cuts and.
Yeah.
It was a Crimson Peak for a few reasons, not just the red clay.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like with horror, rated R horror, and people talk about the gore of a rated R horror movie, you picture like entrails, and it wasn't like that.
No, it was appropriate.
Because these were, yeah,
appropriate and realistic, and
well, and if you're familiar with other rated R Guillermo del Toro movies, it was sort of expected.
Yeah,
the kind of bloody violence gore. Yeah. I've seen that before in other movies.
The other thing, too, with watching it, there's a certain amount of trepidation because nobody's necessarily safe. I mean, we've seen Pan's Labyrinth. Did I say it correctly for you? Pan's Labyrinth, and you know that your heroes, your main characters, don't necessarily live. You know, I mean, just saying as compared to a Hollywood-type movie or ending or whatever.
Yeah, you never know.
And so
you never know what you're going to get, but in that way, you know what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get from his films.
From him, yes.
Yeah.
But
and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Everything from, like you said, the location. We already talked about the house. Their clothes, like everything was so believable. It didn't look like we need Victorian clothing, let's go to wardrobe and pull out some dresses and things, and they didn't look new.
Right.
Everything looked very gritty and realistic. Like, I believed that I was there in that time period.
Yeah.
It wasn't a nice, neat, scrubbed period piece, you know what I'm talking about? Like Amadeus or, you know what I mean? Even when they went to the ball and everybody was supposed to look gorgeous, everyone looked gorgeous, but the clothing looked worn, or it didn't look Hollywood, shiny, bright. It just
everything
came off
practical.
The seamstress didn't just pull out the taffeta or whatever and make this beautiful gown. Like, especially our heroine, some of her outfits. I was like,
they weren't all good, gorgeous,
I was like,
show-stopping things.
No,
they
not
were,
at all.
But they fit the period. They fit the piece.
It was like, wow, she got to wear one pretty thing, and like they're not going to let her wear anything else attractive in the rest of the movie. But I believe that was a more accurate portrayal of that period.
Yeah. I enjoyed the house, the state of decrepitude of the house.
Oh my gosh!
Because
the weather's coming.
The weather is actually coming in from outdoors. It's that bad. The mansion is so big, and without a staff to keep, keep and take care of it, it just added elements to the cinematography, the warm colors. Yeah. It was. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Out of 5.
It's pretty close to a 5 for what it was, for a really cool period piece ghost story. I mean, I thought it was great.
For me, I'm giving it a solid 4.
Okay.
But we'll talk more about that later. But this will conclude our On the Road segment for now.
Thank goodness.
Aw.
Okay, so that was our On the Road segment. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you thought about after we recorded that, or anything you wanted to add?
No, just for me that was a good, solid movie. I thought so too. Yeah, I think we said it all in the car pretty much.
I think so. I mean, I'm having trouble remembering now exactly what I said, but I don't know whether I said it just now in the car or whether I said it to you later, but the fact that, it's a ghost story, but kind of a light ghost story. The horrors are more in the living. Yes, I remember I did say that.
You did say
now I'm just repeating myself. Anyway, I'm on, I read the synopsis off Netflix, and of course I always love browsing the reviews just to see what the general public thought. If the general public does reviews on Netflix, I'm assuming that is a good sample of the general public. Anyway, it didn't have as high of stars as I would have thought, But like right off, a couple of the 1 stars, people were expecting a supernatural ghost story